Day of 1990. Whether I knew it or not at that moment, with the theft at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. Some of you may know, I'm sure many of you know about it, just as sort of a refresher. Isabella Stewart Gardner was an heiress in Boston around the 20th century. She was one of the Gilded Age heiresses. She was very eccentric, as most of these heiresses were. She was a very avid art collector. She traveled to Europe year after year. She put together this really extraordinary collection. And then she built a house to house it, and she built it for her to live there, but also knowing that when she died, it would live on as a museum. She was also very eccentric, because she would do things like, some of the stories are apocryphal, but she would do things like borrow like lion cubs from the zoo and walk them around town on the leash, and she would go to the opera with a headband on that says, "Oh, you Red Sox," and she would sort of just do what she pleased. And that was the way she approached the art as well. She arranged everything exactly the way she wanted it to be. If she wanted these old masters together, she put them that way. If she wanted these religious icons together, she did it that way. If she wanted the space to look like a museum, she did. She wanted the space to look like a living space, that's how she arranged it. In her will, she left this building to the people of Boston as a museum. She required that anyone named Isabella should have free admission, which is still true today. If it's your birthday, you get free admission. She sort of left all of her wishes in there, but she also required that nothing ever be moved from the way that she adopted. So they cannot rearrange, they cannot reconfigure, they cannot sell any of the pieces. If they move a single painting for any other reason than to clean or to lend occasionally to lend out, the entire collection will be liquefied and handed over to Harvard University. So everything is exactly the way that she left it, except for 13 paintings, which were stolen on the night of March 17, 1990. And luckily, theft does not infringe upon these rules, so everything else is still there, but they've actually left the frames empty in their places, so you can see where the paintings are, the frames are waiting for the paintings to come back one day. But when I went to see the Gardner a few years later, a few what ifs and a few whys started coming to mind. Well, why did she care so much about what was here and what was there? Was it just an aesthetic decision? Did she just like the way they looked together? Was she maybe trying to communicate something bigger? And then that took me to what if, and that's sort of the process from research to writing. You go from the why to the what if. What if is, what if she was trying to tell a story by putting this painting next to that painting, or this sculpture against this painting? And maybe you were supposed to look at them in a certain order. Maybe you were supposed to tell, go from here to there to there, and if you rearrange the order, maybe that story isn't even told anymore. So that idea sort of just stuck in the back of my head. And when I was thinking about what I wanted to write next after Under the Egg, and I was thinking about art, I was thinking about some of these families like the Frick or the Gardner who put together these collections and who lived with their collections, which was so interesting to me. I started thinking more about heiresses. I started Googling and came across this newspaper article. That's my other favorite thing, is to read old newspaper articles from the New York Times. I actually found it again. The title is Mystery of Villa Bragiotti, How an American Heiress Alleged to be Insane Has Been Segregated in Italy. So this is a true story that happened in 1920 in Italy. And it's the story of, on the evening of July 25th in Florence, two carabinieri were walking by a villa, and a young woman called out from a barred window, save me from this prison. I am not mad, I'm a poor and happy girl. This girl was calling this out from her window and was drawing the attention of crowds of Italians who started gathering around the villa and started causing an uproar and were threatening to invade this villa to free this young girl who they believed was being held captive. The police investigated, and what they found, this is all true, New York Times, true story, from the headline. What they found was that this girl was being held there by her mother, who was also a wealthy heiress, widow, who had remarried a much younger count of questionable dubious origin, Italian. They had moved to Italy. They were living in this villa. The daughter was being held captive, was rumored to be insane in this top floor, and they were cashing her checks, her income checks.